Let me scroll down, and you'll see down here towards the bottom of my Start menu, I've taken advantage of this to maybe add a little bit more personality in my own phone's layout. Up there at the top, you can see I've put pictures of all my kids. I've got a little games area I set up with the Games Hub and some third-party apps and games I've posted. And one of the things I want to point out in particular, if you look at the Groupon tile or these two weather tiles, these are current Windows Phone 7.5 apps that are unmodified and installed and running as part of Windows Phone 8. And their live tiles, which were originally authored for a different size, are running and look terrific on this high-res screen with a different tile size. So all that application compatibility is part of Windows Phone 8, including live tiles in the new Start experience. But what I want to show you is, here's an example of an app that's been updated to support the new live tile sizes. In particular, that's Nokia Drive. You can see here I've got the Nokia Drive tile in small size, but when I resize, I can go to a full large size tile, and now the app has a much bigger canvas for giving me notifications or graphic information, and we've made this API set much more rich, so software developers can do even more interesting things on Windows Phone 8 than they could on Windows Phone 7.5. I can also resize that to the medium size, and one of the things you see here, the tile changes its display to match the size I choose, and when I'm done with that, I'm going to put it back to the small size so I maintain the visual integrity of my layout for the rest of the demo. The point is, it is a platform feature, and it's one that we think software developers are going to be thrilled to put new benefit into and give end users great new ways to learn about the features and benefits of their apps and be drawn into using their apps even more. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is some parts of that core technology platform and show you a little bit about how the developer experience and end user experience is improved by that code that is in common between Windows Phone and Windows PCs. So the first thing I'm going to do here is go down and open the Terry Myerson tile, where you can see Terry has been communicating with me a bit. If I scroll down, you can see there's an email he sent me, "Is this real?" Well, let's take a look at this, because I want to talk about IE10 and the shared core parts of IE10 and how the IE10 user experience takes advantage of its scale across the PC and the phone. So here's Terry sending me this mail. "Hey, Joe, do you think this is real?" It's from probably not Bill Gates at contosomail.com. Subject, $1 million. I found this site that lets you instantly sign up to win $1 million in cash. Now, Terry is actually a moderately tech-savvy user, as you might expect, running the Windows Phone group. So it's not likely that Terry himself would be duped into clicking on this link and have some malicious website do something to him. But unfortunately, there really are a lot of people who click these things, and it causes incentive for people to create more of them. And I happen to know this as a fact because people in my family really do send me emails like this asking me this question. Sorry, Mom, that's true. But what happens in Windows Phone 8, because of IE10's huge network of end users, is that when I click the link, IE10 detects that this website has been reported on as unsafe. And actually, I'm going to launch a similar website on my Slate so you can see the consistent experience that happens on the phone, on the Slate, on the laptop, and on the PC. This is the network of all of those devices with common code and a common service protecting the user against malicious sites that seek to steal their identity or do other kinds of bad things with their personal information. And now that benefit goes from Windows on the desktop or laptop or Slate to Windows Phone in Windows Phone 8. The next thing I want to show is an example of how that shared HTML and JavaScript componentry makes websites incredibly performant and compatible between the phone and the Windows PC. So I'm going to scroll down here where I've got a site set as a live tile. This site is called the Fountain of Apps. This is an HTML5 site that takes advantage of the new HTML5 support in IE10 on the desktop and on the phone, and gives the user an awesome visual, high-performance look at the apps that are now available in the Windows Phone Marketplace. And one of the cool things about the HTML5 support that we're getting from this shared code and that's implemented in Windows Phone 8 is its support for touch events. So you can see as I touch on this, there's this cool 3D visualization I can do and spin the fountain around. I can let it run again, spin the fountain around, and it's very smooth, fast and fluid, high performant. It's that hardware acceleration that you've seen from IE10 with HTML5 Canvas implemented as part of the shared core componentry on the phone as well. And that shared code componentry gives benefits because the same technology runs on the PC as well. The next thing I want to show, having talked about IE as a means for web developers to create websites on common code, is to talk about application writers and how they can take advantage of that common code to make it much easier to target apps for both the PC and the phone. And actually, in this case, I'm going to start on the Windows 8 slate. And what I'm going to do is move over here. We've installed, if you look right here, I've got a tile for the Windows SDK DirectX Marble Maze game. This is a game sample that ships as part of the Windows 8 SDK. It's been in the SDK for a while. Those of you who are developers and have tried the SDK have seen Marble Maze already. I'm going to show you how this looks. It's a game that uses DirectX. So you get all the hardware accelerated benefits of DirectX. There's textures. It uses the accelerometer for motion. It's pretty straightforward. Here it is running on my PC, and many of you have seen this already because it's part of the SDK. But what I want to show you, what I want to show you is that same SDK sample moved with incredibly small code changes to run on the phone as well. And so here I am with Marble Maze on my phone. And, you know, the exciting news is that it looks just like Marble Maze on the PC, and it plays just like Marble Maze on the PC. And it was an incredibly easy effort to take that SDK sample and get it running on the phone in a high-performant, ultra-smooth kind of way. And the reason why is that the same DirectX componentry, graphics support, exists on the PC and the phone. It's so easy for developers to move because all the complicated parts of their apps just work. The things that you need to consider in moving from one device to another is really the form factor change. There's a smaller screen. You have to think a little bit about touch resolution. In the case of this Marble Maze game, because it's based on the accelerometer, there's really almost no changes made. So suddenly, with Windows Phone 8 and that shared core, taking an app from the PC to the phone, very straightforward. And what I'm going to show you in a little bit is going the other direction. But before I do that, I want to transition into talking about some more of the hardware support that is enabled through the shared core on both Windows Phone 8 and on Windows 8 PCs and slates. And that is our support for NFC. So let me look under my podium here, because I have the April edition of Wired magazine. This is the real April edition. We didn't do anything to change it. This is a bookmark. So I could flip quickly to the Lexus ad here that was part of Wired magazine. And what's interesting about this Lexus ad is that it's an NFC-enabled ad. So I can take my Windows phone, and what I'm going to do is simply touch it to the paper here, watch the screen up there on the phone. Voila, the phone has detected the ad. It says, would you like to receive content? Someone is sharing a website from GQ.com with you. I'm going to ignore that right now. You've seen the browser already, but trust if I clicked accept, you would see the website. Instead, what I want to do is broaden your thinking about what kinds of scenarios NFC can enable. That's a simple one, and that one will work across phones. So it really is rational for people to put those NFC tags in places like magazine ads. But imagine lots of other things. Imagine you're in your mobile operator store with a poster of apps, each one of which is an NFC tag. You can touch one, it provides a link to our marketplace to open the app. Or you're in a bar with a sign that says, need to get a cab, tap here to text or make a phone call. We can execute those things as well. And what I have here in my hand is a business card. This business card belongs to John Scovrin, who is the group program manager responsible for NFC. And what you could predictably imagine that our real-world leader has done is put an NFC tag into his business card. So if I take his business card and just press it to the back of my phone here, you'll see the phone pops up and says, receive content. Someone is sharing a contact with you. I can choose accept. In this case, I'm going to actually show you how this works. And there's all the contact information that was stored in that NFC tag, very easily found by Windows Phone, detected. I click accept, and now I can go down here and just click save. I'm going to tell Windows Phone I want you to save this in my Windows Live contact store, so it's available when I use the web. Here's all the data. If John were here with me now, I'd click add photo and take his picture, but he's not. So I'll just save it as is. And now I've gone from a real-world business card to my connected cloud in a matter of like 2 clicks. Very easy, very straightforward, really making those kinds of tasks super simple for people. And now that I have that content on my phone, I want you to think about my ability to use NFC to move things from my phone to other devices. I might move them to other phones, or I might move them from my phone to my PC. So what I'm going to do here is pop up down in the bottom of my contact card. We have a menu item called Share Contact. And we've had this sharing, I'm going to confirm that I want to share this. We've had this sharing menu for a while. It exists in lots of places in Windows Phone. You can share a photo. You can share a website. There's lots of things you can share. And what's new is the consistent addition of tap and send to our sharing command. So tap and send now becomes a universal way to share stuff on Windows Phone with any other device. I'm going to choose tap and send, and what you'll see right up here, Windows Phone tells you how quick and easy it is to tap your phone to another device. And what I want you to do is watch my Windows 8 slate up there in the upper right. Imagine that my wife has borrowed my Windows 8 slate, or I just want to do a quick transfer here to someone else. I'm going to tap my phone to the back of the slate. Keep your eyes on the... There we go. It says receive content. Tap to receive content from another device. And the experience is the same basic idea. I get notified, I can accept, and in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through that on the Windows 8 slate. Rest assured, you could do that with many content types. It makes it straightforward for end users to share things with each other or transfer to their own separate devices. But what I want to show you is not only how our built-in software experience makes these kinds of transfers easy, I also want to show you how a third-party app can take advantage of all this. So what I'm going to do is launch an app. And I must tell you in advance, this is the riskiest part of my demo. Keep in mind, I have prototype hardware and an unfinished software build running on 2 different devices, so this might not work, but we're going to give it a try. I'm launching this game called Spell It, and I want to tell you the story of Spell It. We've been starting to communicate these platform features to some of our ISVs, getting people to try them out and give us feedback and help to get some demos done so we could show them at an event like this. And we reached out to the authors of Spell It. This is a real app in the Windows Phone marketplace today. We reached out to these authors and said, hey, are you guys interested in trying to change your app for this event? This was I think it was about 10 days ago. They said, sure. And in 2 days of work, they took their Windows Phone app and ported it to Windows 8 and added support for NFC. So what I've got here, I've run Spell It. I'm going to click New Game. And once I click New Game, I could start a game with somebody else by taking my phone. Imagine my wife is using this slate here. I'm going to touch this to the back of my slate, and up there, same spot, upper right, it says Start an App. Tap to start Spell It. So I'll click right there, and what's happening is Spell It is launching a session. It's creating a connection over peer-to-peer Wi-Fi. So if I were in the middle of the woods, this scenario would still work. It's created a game. Over here on the slate, I'm going to tap to join the game. And under the pressure of all of you, all 500 of you watching me, I'm going to form my first word here, dank, which will give me an awesome score of, 8 plus a bonus. I'll click play, and voila, dank shows up on the Windows 8 slate. Now, the operative fact, in my opinion, is that a developer who already had an app in the